Times were tough, so I sold my soul. And I don't think I'll ever regain control. Devil looked me in the eye, now I look the other way. What else could I do? I just stared at the doorway, knew I'd rather be drunk with you. I'd rather be drunk.
Hey Internet, this is Dracofunk, and with me is ShaggyB.
That's right. I don't know what the hell's going on, but here I am.
So, remember last year when I was doing the whole Reusable space program, and then I just kind of stopped?
Oh, yeah, I recognized our studio there at the beginning.
Well, what happened was, there'd been an accident, and this ship was what I had planned on doing for the episode that was supposed to be released. Is I launched everything to put a big station in orbit of Minmus.
Right.
And I was going to fly it there. So I launched everything, and then I was going to collect it and start flying it there. And at some point, this ship collected the station core, which is, you can see on the back.
Yeah.
And it was rendezvousing with another ship to get the main truss that would hold all the tanks. And there's a space bus. But they crashed into each other. And that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the footage of all of that corrupted.
Oh.
And I didn't really know what to do. So you'll see later in an episode that hasn't been released yet. Well, it will be by the time this comes out. That I did something about it, and that went
great.
Not perfect.
Not less than great. Kind of great.
But what I was doing was looking over that craft because I thought that craft had been undamaged, but it wasn't. The mech jub unit on it was destroyed.
Oh, you don't need that, really.
So I went to the space bus, and what the space bus is doing is it's going to start grabbing some of the pieces of the station, and I plan to fly it to Minmus, except I have a problem where it doesn't have as much fuel on it as I would have hoped.
I mean, there's fuel on Minmus, right?
Well, right now I have 343 Delta V.
Yeah, that should do it.
That's not enough to get to Minmus.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's enough fuel left on board. The thing I'm going to pick up that I can fly. I'll be able to fuel the space bus up and fly to Minmus.
Wonder if there's could you slingshot around the moon?
No, not. I mean, maybe if I was better at the game.
Well, no time like the present. I mean, I don't remember. It's been long enough since I've really seriously played Kerbal Space Program that I don't really remember the sort of Delta V ballparks for the various transfers.
You need about 920 to 950 to get to Minmus.
And that's a lot, yeah.
And then you want another 200 to 300 to actually get into orbit.
Right.
So here I'm coming up. This is a crew module. It's pretty light, so I'm hoping that there's plenty of fuel left on board from where I launched this rocket.
Right.
And I'm just coming up, parking beside it, and I'm going to dock with it. It's...
Yeah.
I have 183 Delta V, which that's not quite a lot. I started this with 590.
Yeah.
Wow, those things are really close. I'm trying not to hit myself. It's fine. I did use the Rendezvous planner. I did not use the autopilot.
Mm.
And all my docking I'm just doing it manually.
That's how real men do it.
Yeah, if I was really smart, I would dock facing the other way. because it doesn't make sense to have this on the front of the craft when I could have it on the back. I almost said quaft.
Quaft. His boy's quaft.
I did have to go through and, like, when I started doing this again and looking up all my saved ships to figure out where they are, this is about the time I realized I'm docked the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to, like, flip it around.
I mean, yeah.
It's not a big deal to flip this around.
It's fine.
This is it's a small.
Totally fine.
See?
Yeah.
Just spin it around.
Like 3 more times than you need. That's how I would do it. Just be out of control, spinning around in space. Like, I'll get there. I'll get there.
I might have done something like that, but I'm still a little bit hesitant from the last accident.
I mean, if you're really good, you could, like, use the magnetic attraction on the other docking port to slow the rotation. Like, that's probably a thing that's possible, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, also, for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why, I recorded no game audio, even though it said it was recording game audio.
Oh, figures.
So, with the booster still attached, I have 293 Delta V, which I realize that's with me pulling a whole bunch of extra weight. So, once I detach that, let's see where we're at. Remember, I won about 1,200 Delta V. And 698.
I'm
gonna have to, like, figure out some way to get some more fuel to the ship.
I mean, you could, like, you know, it's never say never. You could like get to Minmus and then, like,
I can't get to Minmus with that. I need at least 900 to get to Minmus.
900 to get to Minmus. Okay. Well,
And probably a little over. So this is the big mining ship. I've started naming my mining ships after, like, fictional pirate ships from, like, movies and books.
Okay.
I think I named this one the Inferno from the pirate ship in the Goonies.
Perfect.
I also plan on taking this to Minmus, so
Well, dock it all together and use the,
that.
See, and then you've got more fuel, right? And it could just be one big wiggling mass of, death.
Well, I'm using this. It's rendezvousing with an ore tank.
Oh, okay.
So the parts of the station I need is I have to have the station core and the station truss.
Station trust. Lending advice for space station planners, since...
Anyway, so I have to have that, and ideally at least an ore tank, because once the mining craft gets there, the first thing it's going to do is land on Minmus and do some mining so it can refuel everything that flies to Minmus. And then I can fly back and take care of some things.
I really... I appreciate kind of the resource dynamic in this game, where it's like you just have unlimited free fuel on Kerbin all the time. It's just like, if you can build a tank, there is enough fuel for it. But everywhere else, it's like, I mean, it makes sense with the game mechanics, but it's just like, it's always kind of like, man, if only we could, figure out how to build tanks in other places, we would never have to mine anything.
So I'm docking to the front of this. I'm going to transfer all the fuel.
Okay.
From that rocket. The problem is I need this tank to be attached to the back of the mining craft.
Right.
And the big docking port is on the back of the... I'm undocking it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to fly away from the booster and then
spin everything around.
Well, what I'm actually going to do is just slide to the left or to the right.
And then step to the left.
and then fly below it, and then slide back in.
Yeah.
See? And I'm just doing all this visually. And this is at 4-time acceleration, just to give you an idea how long this actually took.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see the lanyard Kerman there jiggling around.
Yeah, Kelbrit and
Lanand.
Yeah, I went through and checked to see where everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the space bus, it's Caden and Trifrod.
Trifrod, that's a good name.
I believe Shepbree is going to be the commander of the station. Unfortunately, the Ares craft that got destroyed, well, it didn't get completely destroyed. The engine module got sheared off of it. None of my Kerbals died, but it had Bill Tedbury and Billy Bob Long in it.
Oh, not Billy Bob Long. I remember him.
Well, so I transferred Billy Bob Long and Tedbury over to the craft that you saw at the beginning,
mm-hmm.
and they're in the passenger compartment. They were gonna be dropped off and sent back to Kerbin, but I forgot. So
instead they're
going to Minmus.
drifting through the void for centuries.
No, they're on a ship. They're just they're just going to Minmus.
Like it's going to be marooned on
Yeah, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil too much.
Right.
But the episode that comes out before this, you should really watch it at least towards the end, because I attempt to rescue. I decided that I needed to return the Ares craft to the surface of Kerbin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I built an SSTO, but I tested it except in one key aspect of it.
What's that?
It getting it to space, it worked like a charm. Perfect.
Great.
It just doesn't fly very well or land very well, and it's really hard to get it to enter the atmosphere without, the wings exploding.
Well, I guess technically, SSTO stands for single stage 2 orbit. It doesn't say anything about, what happens next. It's there. That's what you wanted.
So
it's like the programmers, that joke about programmers,
Yeah.
Go get a gallon of milk, and if they have eggs, get a dozen. And come back with 12 gallons of milk.
So, I'm rendezvousing with the Station Truss. This was connected to the Ares craft during the incident.
Mm-hmm.
And right about now, I'm going to discover that it only has one docking port. The other one was lost in the accident. See?
Aww. Yeah, that's that's unfortunate.
I don't have time to... I don't know why I'm saying I don't have time. I could have just launched another one, but I decided I'm going to use this one anyway. Even though it's going to be a pain in the butt to attach it to the station.
I think creativity is important, right? What you're going to have to do is oh no, it's a space station. I was going to say if that was some kind of part of a landing craft, you'll just have to land it on the other end. Just upright,
So, yeah, that's kind of why there was such a long gap, and then some life things happened, and
yeah. Well, the important thing is that time didn't pass in space.
Sure. It's not like I left my Kerbals stranded for a whole year.
Yeah. You weren't running the game constantly in the background on a dedicated machine for the entire year or anything.
I suppose not.
Which would be kind of a funny way to play this game, actually. Kerbal Space Program in real time.
I think somebody has actually done that.
Oh man.
So I called this. I'm going to title this episode "Back to Work," which, if you're watching this, you can see that on the title card that I've actually already made.
That's good.
Next episode, I had planned on doing it in this episode is to get everything to Minmus, but it just ended up taking a little bit too long. I mean, we're coming up on 16 minutes. I usually like to have my episodes around 20 minutes. This one's a little bit shorter, but
that's all right.
I wish I could have had you on the return episode, because it would have been. Did
you record that while I was like out of state doing stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a last minute surprise trip. It was like, hey, we need you up here tomorrow. Okay. So.
Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.